Hey everybody, this is Perch. People have asked a lot, can AI actually make the comics? Can AI replace the art and the writing on comics? And usually the question is more about the art. And my answer, which I've given in other videos, is that I actually think the art is further away than people think. I think that there's this kind of I think because art is tough for a lot of people, that the appeal and allure of AI as something that could actually help solve that and put a lot of art into the books and make it easy for anyone with an idea to create a comic book. I get why that's very appealing, but the challenge is comic book art needs kind of intangible. It's not as simple, I think, to have comic book art generated by a computer and have it not take on that uncanny valley look where it's wrong. It doesn't look right. It feels off, for lack of a better word. I think that comic book art and AI has a long way to go. Granted, look, you can make good splash pages. I think it could make good tracing pages where people can use it as kind of the initial storyboards, and so I think there's definitely a place for AI in helping with art. But in terms of actually taking over the story, taking over the art, I think it's got a long way to go. But the question I want to ask today is, can it take over the writing? Because we talk about art a lot, but what about the writing? And if AI took over, say, the Amazing Spider-Man, how good could it do? And so I decided to go to ChatGPT, and I just said I wrote this prompt into ChatGPT. I said, please write me an epic storyline for the Amazing Spider-Man that would lead to strong sales and positive fan response. That's it. Okay, I didn't give it any, like, here are the villains to use. Here's anything to do with his personal life, his superhero life, nothing. This is just give me a 5-year storyline for Spider-Man and break it all out for me. And can you do it, ChatGPT? Can you take over the writing in comics? And can you replace some of these writers? So I'm going to read to you what ChatGPT came up with, and you tell me, is it ready? We've complained and we've struggled with the Amazing Spider-Man for quite some time now, and so the question before us is it ready to actually do a better job, than basically some of the writers we've had. So without further ado, here we go. Here is ChatGPT writing a 5-year storyline of Spider-Man. You tell me what you think, okay? Now, I want you to pretend for a moment this isn't AI. This is just you were being presented this like the synopsis of an omnibus, and would you buy this? Good, bad. Let's be critical about it, just like we would with a human being writing it, okay? All right. 5-year epic Spider-Man storyline. The omnibus title is The Web of Destiny. Okay. Year 1. Rebirth of the Spider. The story begins with Aunt May's death. Sorry. Bam. Right there. The story begins with Aunt May's death and Peter Parker reeling from the loss of his longtime parental figure and the toll that his dual life as Spider-Man has taken on him. The idea is the story immediately begins with intense tragedy, and we will build Peter Parker up from there. Peter has been struggling with his responsibilities as a hero, as well as his strained relationship with Mary Jane since the involvement of Paul. Peter's internal conflict deepens as he grapples with the perceived failure of protecting one of his closest loved ones. However, his world is about to be shaken when a new threat emerges in the form of the Inheritors, a family of vampires who feed on the life force of spider people from across the universe. I'm going to pause right here and say I was there, and then I hate that part. I don't want the Inheritors. Goddamn. This year introduces a multiversal threat with Spider-Man versions from across the universes appearing, such as Spider-Man 2099, Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen, teaming up with Spider-Man to face the Inheritors. Through this, Peter learns the importance of his role as Spider-Man in a greater cosmic context. Meanwhile, Peter and MJ are drawn slowly back together through their shared history, though they are not fully reconciled. In the final battle with the Inheritors, Peter faces off against Morlun, a leader of the Inheritors, in a desperate struggle. He wins by tapping into the deeper potential of spider powers, realizing he must accept the potential uh, of who he is, both as Peter and as Spider-Man. As a result, the battle ends with Peter being more confident in his role as a hero, and a tentative friendship with Mary Jane begins. All right, year one. Okay, so far, not so good, to be honest. So far, it feels like they're just kind of ripping off Into the Spider-Verse or whatever. We're doing multiversal bullshit and everything else. I admire the boldness of murder Aunt May kind of right out the gate. I think that's clever and good. So I like that. But I'm the like the Inheritors and Moreland as being my first year villain arc. I don't know. Nah, not really. Not really feeling that. But okay, I like the personal life stuff though. I do like, hey, we're gonna move on from Mary Jane. We're gonna start out with a bang, get a lot of attention in the book, throw Peter Parker into a world of all the spider bullshit. Don't really care for. We're gonna use it as a way to kind of tap into who Peter is and bring Mary Jane back. Okay, all right, yeah, not really there for year one, but I like some elements. Don't like some elements. Okay, we're batting. I don't know. I'm being generous here and saying 50-50. It does feel like ChatGPT is just regurgitating old storylines, but in fairness, it is doing a good job of, basically doing what Marvel's writers and editors currently do. So far, if this was what they did in the comic book, I don't think anybody would notice that a computer was now writing it. All right? Okay. Year two, Sinister Forces. After the devastation caused by the Inheritors, Peter faces a deadly alliance of his most iconic enemies, the Sinister Six, but with a twist. The villainous group is manipulated by an enigmatic figure called the Maestro, a future version of the Hulk who has traveled back in time to sow chaos. All right. That's interesting. I like how we're doing something old, a little bit of something new. The Sinister Six, but now we've got Evil Hulk there as the mastermind behind it all. That's all right. That's clever. All right. The Maestro wants to reshape the world in his image and believes that the chaos Spider-Man represents will lead to the destruction of the Avengers, the X-Men, and the entire world. Peter's usual foes, Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Mysterio, Vulture, Sandman, Electro, are drawn into this scheme and are forced to battle Spider-Man once again. As Peter fights Sinister Six, he is faced with personal challenges as the villains are more brutal and coordinated than ever with their knowledge of future events thanks to the Maestro. His relationship to MJ, though slowly improving, is tested by the constant danger in his life and his commitment to saving the world as the villains finally become smarter and directly target Peter's personal life as the best way to break him. This arc ends with Peter and MJ being separated at the last moment when Doc Ock once again successfully switches minds with Peter, trapping him in his own body once more. Octopus attempts to ruin Peter's life, but in a moment of pure resilience, Peter regains control, uses the Sinister Six's own betrayal to defeat them. I'm not sure what that own betrayal was, but okay. After defeating the Maestro in a devastating showdown, Peter and MJ are brought back together stronger than ever before, and Peter reaffirms the need for balance in his life and his personal relationships. All right, that's year two. Okay, I like year two better than year one. I like the introduction. I like the Maestro coming in. That's a character that I think you could do some interesting things with. I like parts of that. That's different. If we're gonna do the Sinister Six, and I think if you're doing a 5-year arc of Spider-Man, you got to do the greatest hits of all Spider-Man's villains. So, that's an interesting way to do it. I think making them more brutal is interesting. Making it more serious, using it as a way to bring MJ and Peter, closer together, I think is interesting. All right. Year two, not bad. It'd be a fun ride. Year three, Spider-Verse, Shadow of the Kingpin. The third year shifts the focus to the crime syndicate led by William Fisk, the Kingpin, who in the wake of the Inheritors attack has risen to power in a way Peter never saw coming. Kingpin has manipulated events behind the scenes to take control of New York once again, and now the entire criminal underworld is united under his banner. He has become such a threat that even multiversal characters like Hammerhead and Tombstone are in his pocket. All right, not loving this. Peter, still adjusting to heavy responsibility of being Spider-Man, begins to struggle with maintaining his secret identity as the stakes continue to rise. The slow restoration of his relationship with MJ faces new challenges as Kingpin targets her personally, hoping to break Peter's spirit. Peter begins a war on two fronts, fighting the underworld and maintaining his life as her friend, soon to be boyfriend. The drama escalates when Kingpin enlists the Black Cat to sabotage Peter's relationship, forcing Peter to make dangerous choices. But by the end of the year, Peter defeats the Kingpin as operation, but realizes the cost of his fight. MJ has become more involved in Peter's life as Spider-Man, and they vow to now rebuild the relationship at the expense of Paul, who was murdered by the Kingpin after he came out as a betrayal to Peter and MJ. All right. I like Peter. I like Paul being dead. That's good. They continue to face the dangers of Peter's responsibilities. All right. Year 3 kind of sucks, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe. Year 4, Return of the Goblin. Norman Osborn, thought to be dead, returns with a vengeance as a Green Goblin. This time, however, his return isn't just about vengeance, it's personal. Norman has uncovered a hidden truth. Peter Parker is Spider-Man. All right, ChatGPT, we already knew this. He plans to not only destroy Peter, but destroy everything he loves. Norman wages a psychological war against Peter, trying to break him down mentally by using his family and friends as pawns. Meanwhile, the Osborn legacy becomes a central theme. Peter uncovers a hidden conspiracy of Osborn's descendants who seek to reclaim the Goblin mantle and continue their family's reign of terror. MJ, now fully aware of the danger, joins Peter in fighting back against Osborn's twisted plot, but the climax of the year sees a brutal battle between Spider-Man and Green Goblin, and an effort confrontation destroys most of New York. Peter nearly succumbs to the trauma, but with MJ's support, he manages to defeat Norman Osborn, restoring peace to his life once more, but the cost of nearly losing himself. Okay, and Norman Osborn bullshit for a year. To be honest, I'm kind of disappointed what ChatGPT is doing here. I don't think this is the best. I mean, it's okay. The funny thing is, you could run these years, and there's one more year left in year 5. You could do this in the comic books, and it would be fine. You get a good artist on it, probably a little bit more than fine. It's just funny. Like I'm weighing here, like have an actual human write Spider-Man or have AI write Spider-Man, and to me, it's kind of a wash at this point. But we'll see. We'll see if they pull it together in year 5. Year 5, the final web. As Peter begins to finally put the pieces of his life back together, he faces the ultimate test. The entire world is suddenly threatened by an alliance of the Avengers' greatest foes, Thanos and Ultron, who come back with an army of elite hunters across time and space. This is a culmination of all of all the challenges Peter has faced so far, leading him to the final conflict, a battle for the soul of the world itself. The storyline involves a full-scale battle across multiple dimensions where Spider-Man fights not only to save his city, but the entire universe. Alongside allies like Captain America, Iron Man, and the X-Men, Peter takes the final stand to prevent the universe collapse orchestrated by the villains. During this, MJ plays a pivotal role, fighting alongside Peter, proving herself a true partner. In how does she fight Thanos? I don't know. I'm sure there's a way. In the final battle, Peter is faced with the most personal choice of his life, whether to let the world fail or sacrifice everything for the people he loves. With the help of a mysterious being, possibly the cosmic entity Spider-World, I don't know what that is, Peter uses his inherent connection to the multiverse as identified in the first year, callback, to defeat the villains once and for all, restoring peace and balance, and using the web to infect Ultron and defeat Thanos' plot. In the final moments of the story, Peter and MJ are shown walking away from each other in the chaos, only to turn back and become stronger than ever. Peter and MJ restore their memories as stolen by Mephisto as a result of the multi-universal sacrifice, realizing that they have been married all along. Peter has become a symbol of hope, not just for New York, but for all worlds. And on a hopeful note, showing Peter has accepted his place as Spider-Man as a man capable of balancing his life as both a hero and now a husband. In the aftermath, Peter and MJ are finally able to live a life in peace, with Peter still committed to being Spider-Man, but also fully embracing his role as husband, and now with the revelation that Mary Jane is pregnant, father-to-be. The final image shows Peter swinging through the city with MJ at his side, knowing the legacy of Spider-Man will continue on with his loved ones and soon his daughter at his side. The core theme of the 5-year story is redemption. Peter's redemption is relationship with MJ, his redemption as a hero who balances his life, and the ultimate understanding that he's stronger when he embraces both his humanity and his heroic nature. All right, that's it. I kind of saved it there at the end. I don't know, Ultron and Thanos teaming together against the web of spiders. I admit I don't quite get that. That idea needs to be fleshed out a little bit. But heroic giant sacrifice, restoration of marriage, pregnant MJ. I'm on board for all that. So as a 5-year storyline, I had a lot of generic things in there. Feels like a lot of stuff we've already seen before. A lot of callbacks, fast paced. Put a good artist on that. What do you think? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Is this like, okay, this is Spider-Man for 5 years. You in? You out? Better, worse than Zeb Wells? Better, worse than Dan Slott? Can we replace Dan Slott with AI? How big an AI? No, I'm not going to do that joke. Anyway, let me know in the comments below, and thanks for listening.